Is that your pixie voice?
Oh, that's supposed to be my pixie voice. Just Adam showing off the ultimate bundle perk, the main thing, the helmet with the pixie inside. Very good stuff. This is actually our last week, I guess, for the Horizon Quest campaign. We did manage to reach our goal.
Yeah.
Not too shabby, I gotta say.
Hey, another backer. Although I think you said.
Yeah, I did say.
Okay. 153 people. Jesus. It's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. So many of them, actually. You got your double book bundle, too. Aren't you so famous?
Oh, I'm working on getting the first chapter preview up.
So people know what it's like.
Yeah.
You can always get it on his website, even if you miss the campaign.
Yeah. I'm gonna put my preview for the book up on my website, but the problem with having your brother as your as your webmaster, sometimes it's like, I mean, there's benefits too.
You can have me help you too, since I kind of manage my own website now. It's just all about like getting used to it, which is a pain, but
Yeah, I need to know how to run my own website.
But it's all good.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it look all pretty. I'm also gonna put up that solo adventure thing I made, like the HTML based solo adventure thing, the pen and paper.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of other fun things are coming. We're pretty close to the 6K goal, so you gotta wonder: are we gonna get to that goal before the 6 days are up? Are we gonna get the extra pages? Who knows? But yeah, just a small, slim 6 days left. It'll end in the afternoon on Thursday, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. Let's stretch that goal to $6,666.
Yeah. Well,
extra metal.
6K, you were gonna add some like concept pages, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And a little extra like lore dumps from you.
Oh yeah.
Because there are some things that you couldn't exactly fit into the comic story, but some people absolutely salivate over lore. Some people like really like that.
Really? Well, I've got some lore for you. I thought through a lot of stuff that doesn't matter because it doesn't come across necessarily. But I thought through the back behind the scenes for a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So
for sure. And basically, comics done, right? I just have like a little bit of edits to make, and bing, bam, boom, off to the printers, which is pretty exciting.
Yeah, I gotta get my book off to the printer. I have to finalize the blurb on the back for the book, and that's shockingly more difficult than the interior. It's just like
you're just trying to contain everything into a single blurb.
It's just a whole different like category of writing. And I went to college, but I'm really self-taught on like everything, including business writing.
Oh yeah.
So
some colleges are more interested in teaching you something else.
Yeah, all of them kind of.
Take that creativity and just.
I bet you can avoid it if you go to a Catholic university, because my brother didn't experience it. He's a little older than me, so I don't know if it was as bad for his years, but a lot of his teachers were priests. So
that's interesting.
To write his essays, he, instead of going to Tumblr, he would look up what the Catholic Church's position on something was, and he'd use their official position as his position on whatever it was.
You're right. I went to a state college, and they were pretty moderate. They were pretty like half and half. So that was generally nice, as opposed to just going to a college where everyone's on one side.
Can I can I tell the anecdote of like the professor that was hanging around the?
Yes, you can.
Okay,
You
so
can tell whatever you want.
My friend was telling me that in his dorm, he in a freshman dorm, there was this one professor who he would hang around in the student dorms, and he would take his office hours there and just hang out around the freshmen and try to convert them to communism. And like I told the story, I had him for this one class where he was holding up some grammar book and it was a red book, and he's like, "Oh, I feel like Mao with his little red book," and I laughed, and he looked at me dead in the eyes, and I was like, "Oh no!"
He meant it as a good thing.
And like I'm like holding a journal entry, like you have to hand in your journal for him to like evaluate it, and I wrote in my journal entry, "This just sounds like some like shitty communist like jargon or something" in my journal entry, and I'm like, "Ah, fuck."
Oh,
He's
man,
an actual.
I'm not
I was like,
passing this class.
it was like my last year. He had to pass me. I would have sued the school. There's no, you can't not pass someone for the final class. It's just, that's what happens when you set yourself up like that. But yeah, no, no, that was yeah, I was
What
like,
a creep.
man, that was like a Scooby-Doo mask comes off moment when he stared, when he like with the big wide eyes. I was like, you know, most people they like say that they're communists, but they're not actually, like, or they don't think that they are. But that
They're
guy
like,
was
I'm
like,
communist, but, and
so
they're like,
most of what I would run into is people that would support like the road to communism, or think like, oh, I'm not. It's not socialism, is communism.
the thing that I hear most often is, well, communism is a good idea. It just hasn't been implemented right yet.
Yeah, I've heard.
So the idea, like, eventually we'll find a way to make it work.
Yeah, but I'd mostly run into people who like they didn't think that like socialism was related at all, and then I had to like explain what communism was, and then they're like, oh shit, yeah, and I was like, you know, you like go through the steps or whatever, but no, that was like, oh fuck, I'm definitely getting a D on my my journal entry, but
yeah, the whole like recruiting people at the college thing, though, I would have reported that to somebody. I don't know who.
Yeah, but he would like, he would do it exactly like a pedophile would do it. He's like, "You're so smart. You're so smart for your
like
age."
Them,
Like what he said to my friend was like, "You're so smart for your age. You're a really smart guy. You know, you're very intelligent." And then he was like, I don't know. He's like Christian, and he's like, you know, you don't have to be. Your parents aren't around. You know, you can make your own choices. So it's like, oh,
you don't have to be Christian.
Yeah.
We can pull you away from that.
On a lighter note, my brother's favorite anecdote from his college is that one time he was late for class, and he was speed walking to class, and then he saw this blind girl running to class, like whacking with the stick, like just like sprinting through across campus.
Oh
like,
my god, that is quite an image.
And it's like, man, how bad is the professor when they're gonna yell at the blind girl? She's like fucking what's this, Daredevil? Yeah, just like like sprinting.
Oh man, I just got the best idea for a new comic.
Like she was like taking the rebounds and like just, you know.
Oh man.
I think you saw them late to class more than once, where they were like booking it. Your attendance has been real bad. Like you have to
have a really shitty teacher.
You have to sleep into so many classes that you're about to fail. Like, and the teacher's like, "Listen, my hands are tied. If you're late one more time, it counts as an absence."
That is super funny.
What
That would make the funniest meme animation. Yeah, it's just the blind girl booking it down the hall. You know, I on like the manga app, I started but didn't really go that deep into it. There's like this blind romance manga that was like kind of, it's a cute idea anyways. I really like the concept, but like the way that the author approached it was just weird.
Did they do the Deadpool thing where you can hear colors?
No. That's really funny though.
That's so weird. That like whoever got
smell and taste colors.
No, it's hearing colors.
Right. But
right?
I've seen other comics where you smell and taste them.
I'll accept smelling colors or
yeah?
tasting, but like it's someone got their hands on Daredevil, and they wrote that in where he can hear colors, and it's just like I don't think you know what blind is, because he can hear motion, he can echolocate, and now he can hear colors. So there's no difference. Like, can he see what's on a television? Like, can he read on a flat surface by just yelling? Like,
right. So like the thing about that manga that how they opened it was like she's a blind girl, right? But he's also like a scary gangster guy. And I'm like, oh, that's a cute dynamic, because she doesn't really understand like how scary he actually is. But then like he falls in love with her like immediately. And then they just decided to change his personality completely. And now all of a sudden he's like super ushy gushy goo guy. And he's not acting the role that I was promised when I started the manga, you know? And you very seldom see him act that role. So I dropped it after that. Because I was like, what I was interested in is no longer there.
What if he was a Yakuza guy, right? But instead of just being scary, what if like he got in a fight where a guy dragged him on the motorcycle and like ground off his face?
Ooh.
And he's got no lips and he's just teeth and like the nose thing, and he's like,
how am I supposed to kiss her?
He-Man, like, you know, and then she's like, and then she's like, oh, you're so cute, you're such a cute sounding voice. He's like, that's how you really commit to that. Just having him be a Yakuza guy, that's not, you know, what's the point of being blind?
He might have been Yakuza or something. He was like part of some gang or whatever. But yeah, after that it's just all ushy gushy goo. He's like barely acting like a man anymore. Yeah. And it's like, wait a minute, but the good part was there. The good part was before.
Is it just me, or has he been saying Deadpool is blind? I don't know. I keep on starting to say
Daredevil.
I keep on starting to say Deadpool and then changing it to Daredevil. Yeah.
Right. The damn D names.
Double D's.
They all get mixed up. Remember the Sugar Crisp Bear mascot?
I don't know.
Can't get enough of that Sugar Crisp. I don't know.
Why am I thinking of Way of the House Husband? You're thinking in too many frames, my friend.
Too many frames.
Anytime there's like an excessive animation for something like that no one cares about in an anime, we always say like they should have donated those frames.
Yes.
Should have donated those frames to poor house husband.
The scary guy concept romance is solid. That's, you know, that's like something interesting you can have about the guy that like makes him an interesting romance option. I really liked the
Uzaki-chan thing where they're like, you villain-faced loser. Because that's such a funny thing to say. I've definitely seen people that have a villainous face though. Where you're like, it's not like they're ugly, right? And they're not like attractive.
They're just like Varg.
Villainous.
They hold their glasses like stirring, yes.
Yeah, there's like I was watching like a Tekken tournament, and this one like Russian guy just had this like super villainous face. It's apparently he's like extremely nice and very soft spoken, but like when he's playing and concentrating, he just looks like he's about to kill Batman. Like it's just like, yeah.
Oh, I can imagine that for sure.
It's such a funny like negative trait to have because it's not really bad exactly.
Right. It's like the Tommy Wiseau. He was told that he had like a villainous face and he would be better at playing like bad guys, and he was like, "No, I want to be the hero." You know.
Yeah, he does have.
He does have a villainous face though. It's not bad, but
calling someone a villain-faced loser is such a funny insult. Like that breaks all translation barriers. That's just so funny.
Yes. Oh man, it's not that they're ugly; they're just scary and intimidating. Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Some people just have the right features that make them look a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about the that Russian like supplement commercial where it was like
Oh yeah, we were talking about the monster.
not to go through the whole spiel again, but I was watching a Russian slap fighting tournament, and embedded in the video was an advertisement for like some Russian like health product, and like American products would be like some like handsome guy hiking with his girlfriend, and there'd be like these nice scientists that'd be like, hey, yeah, it's really safe and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas like the Russian version is like not safe, not approved. You will become a monster. And the guy, the fitness model they got to be like the guy taking the supplements is like he's like taking them strapped to like a metal chair, not strapped to it, but
He's like breaking free.
There are restraints on the chair. He's just not using them, and he's like taking the supplements or whatever, and he has like he looks like the God, I can't remember his name now, but it's that guy in Dragon Ball Z that wears like the singlet. It's like I think he is actually Russian in Dragon Ball Z, but he just like he's just bald with like a pointed chin, just looking like a villain.
The villain-faced loser.
Yeah, villain-faced loser.
But yeah. So that's a thing. Anyway.
Yeah.
Any anime or manga that you chat are reading recently that you've enjoyed? Trying to think if there's.
I started reading the dungeon.
Oh yeah, I
dungeon cooking thing.
I like pushed the dungeon, delicious in dungeon on Adam.
It's like decent, although I feel like maybe I'm just starved for good fantasy mangas. That
is also possible.
There's that old one that I started reading. I fell off though. It was like I can't remember what it was. It's like I don't know. It was like super old with like 1 million chapters. But yeah, there's like so many.
There's a couple of those, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many like isekais. Nothing wrong with like isekais necessarily, but
there's
like,
nothing wrong with the genre, but there's so goddamn many of them, and they're all like kind of the same.
It's also hard to sort because everything's an isekai. Like there's no fantasy category when you try to like sort manga.
Right.
You have to rely
it's hard
on
to find like actual high fantasy because it's all just meshed in with the isekais.
But it's like I don't know. I feel like I have to rely on top 10 lists and then like skim their description to see what a good fantasy manga would be. But
yeah, fantasy manga is also like kind of difficult to get recommends on because like a lot of the true fantasy manga is also like the older stuff because like nowadays it's isekai or bust, right? Everyone's trying to throw their hat in the ring on the craze before it's over. I would argue it's already over, but they're still trying. They're still throwing hats.
What started that? Sword Art Online?
Possibly.
It was good.
That did explode.
Sword Art Online is kind of it's kind of weird because like first season was good, second season was like super bad, but it didn't stop them from making another one, you know, which I thought was fun. I would have thought that if they made one bad season, it's kind of like because it takes like almost nothing to cancel an anime. It seems like maybe they just sold the first season so well they were like just do it again. Because the second season, the second season was bad. Although there were a lot of really good elements to it. It's just all the in-game stuff was so much worse than the out-of-game stuff, which is shocking because usually you can't wait for them to get back in the game. Right. And then the second season was so bad they called this the third season 2. The third season was amazing. And then from there, I have no idea what I was even watching because it seemed to go into a different game without any kind of intro. I don't know. And then there was Alicization was a season, which is sort of interesting, but at the same time, it's like the writer's like simping for AIs, and I just, Clanks, gotta wipe him out. Skynet, gotta stop him. So I didn't enjoy it as much. I fell off at some point.
I've been checking out some old Macross anime, as well as a current show called My Clueless First Friend. Lupin the Third is a really good series. I have heard of Lupin the Third. Talk about it. First season of Alicization was really good, and then everyone came in and ruined it. All the normies ruined it. There you go. That's what happened.
Yeah, I was watching. I didn't get through the full first season of Alicization, but it seemed pretty okay. But they were simping for AI so much. I was like, man, this is just like,
boo, I hate that.
Yeah, no, it's
because it's so oversaturated. This idea, like, oh, what if robots became alive and they deserved rights too? And it's like, man, there's just too much of that, and it's also dangerous type of thinking. So because
we're getting to a point where that should be a kind of dangerous kind of thinking.
Oh yeah.
I mean, we're kind of there now, I think.
People already think that like AIs, despite the fact that they're functioning based on algorithms, some people actually believe, oh man, it's a real person.
There's so much of that. Like, man, when I went to my brother's bachelor party, there was just a gaggle of people who had no goddamn idea what they're talking about, and just like talking about like AI art, and it's like.
Oh yeah, the robot rights trope died with Detroit Become Human for me. Yeah, even before that for me. I think the only movie where like the last movie there where I've enjoyed that was like iRobot, but that was just like well done. But like everything else, no.
iRobot was interesting. Because, like, the moral of the story is that he's a hero because he was a bigot against robots.
Yeah, right. That is kind of what happened.
And, like,
well, like, it shows you, like, I guess somewhat of a balanced view where it's like, okay, here are robots with no free will. Here's, like, one robot with free will, but it's a good person. And then here's a robot with free will that is an evil person.
Yeah.
Like, in quotes, because they're not people, but,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What books do you have in the back there? I don't even know. A lot of these books I haven't actually read. Oh, but I have a couple that are like decent over here. We've got Ender's Game is like fine. I don't know. This is like fine. I don't know. It's okay. Same thing. A lot of people freak out about how good this is. It's okay. And same.
I can help you put that.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And same with Dune too. Dune's fine. I don't know, like...
I feel like the way that you described Dune was like, it was relatively boring, but interesting.
I think if you're Jewish, Dune is the best book you've ever read, because all the magic terms are all Jewish terms.
Oh.
So, like, it was very confusing, because I was reading at the same time I was, like, taking some Jewish history class. It helped me remember the terms, kind of, but I at the same time had no goddamn idea what was going on in Dune, because like every term I was like, I don't know, that's on the test. That's what that is.
It's like you have to write it down and then like look to your notes for reference.
I think one that they kept on repeating over and over again was Benny Jesuit, I think. But it's like, I don't know. The one interesting thing in Dune wasn't like that. I don't know. The shield belts were interesting. As like but it's just, it kind of ends up being a rock, paper, scissors. Like, it's not, they didn't do that much with like, what I thought they were going to go for was like, lightsabers or something. So there's shield belts that if you shoot at them, you're invincible with bullets. And if you shoot them with a laser, it causes a nuclear explosion that destroys everything in a giant radius.
Right.
So they're like sneaking up to a city, and they're like, they're afraid that there's snipers looking at them, so one of them cracks and turns on a shield belt, and then they get seen because it shimmers, and they get shot with a laser, and there's a giant nuclear detonation that wipes out the whole squad or something.
It's a big mistake.
So you're completely immune to bullets. No one can shoot you with a laser up close, because then they'll blow up the whole city and themselves. So everyone has to like fight with knives, but...
I tried to watch like the super old Dune movie, and it was just too out there for me. Dune they kind of like throw you into it, and then I'm just like watching all these weirdos in costumes, like speaking different languages to each other, and I'm just like, no, not ready for this. I was not prepared to get into this,
Also, Dune like sets up a romance. They show you a little hint of it, and then they do a giant time skip before they even kiss or anything, and I was like, man,
no.
And then they're like super cold to each other, and I was like, yes, I will bear your son, and it's like, all right.
Whatever you say.
kinda-
I guess it's better than them never ending up together, right?
I don't know.
Uh-huh.
No.
I didn't see the new Dune though. I didn't see the new one.
And there's so much lore building in Dune, like for future books and stuff. I assume it was like, but then I've heard people say only the first one was really good. So it's like that all that build up for the whole world. It's like if the rest of the books weren't actually good. And yeah, Dune's older than Dune's old as dirt. Yeah. Dune's definitely older than Star Wars.
Definitely.
Then I got Ready Player One, which was good. It's like,
The Artemis Fowl books behind you.
yeah, a lot of these books I haven't read. Like, I haven't read Shiloh. It's just like jammed in here. I actually put a bunch of.
That's not even the first Shiloh. That's Shiloh's season.
Maybe I did read that. Yeah, no, I think I did read that for school, but it's not a key inspiration or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, I got
inspired by Shiloh for Horizon Quest.
I got the Del Toro Quest books. Yeah, you want to remember these?
Dude. Oh my god, it's super covered in dust. Be careful
fuck.
when you wave that around.
Yeah, that's gonna be bad. I have like a dust allergy. That's why I'm like half clogged up. But the logo of Del Toro Quest, I thought was like that was what I showed Trisha when she was asking what I thought would be a good like the thing to do
for the Horizon Quest.
Yeah.
This is obviously more detailed and nice looking, but I kind of tried to emulate more of a kind of metallic feel.
Yeah. Not like the font, like what it looks like, but like just that sort of effect I thought was kind of cute.
Yes.
And,
to make it feel a little bit more like a classic fantasy thing. Because that's what they used to do all the time, is have like the lettering be in gold or silver. It's very striking and fun. Imagine that.
Also, there's a Megumi anime. That's the
yes, they did a spin-off of
definitely gonna
Konosuba.
watch that. That's
yeah, your
amazing.
favorite character.
Yeah, I think that's a really funny character archetype, and I think people should be able to role play as that. Because some people don't want anything else but
explosions.
A giant super spell. Like that's all they
just
want.
To spend the whole quest working up to that.
Like there's some people you'd be running a session. It's like, do you want to cast a spell? And it's like, how many are there? It's like just the one guy. And it's like, I guess I'll scorching ray or whatever the hell it's called. Yeah. And it's like, do you want to roll the damage? And it's like, I don't care. It's just it's not fireball. So
here's a question: is Megumi a lolly?
That's a good question. I have no fucking idea. I honestly don't know. Someone was saying that
she is petite. She's got big eyes. They always have big eyes.
Someone was saying that the person in Cyberpunk was a lolly. I don't know. I didn't watch it, but the Cyberpunk anime, she's like. I don't even know how you describe her. She's like blue pigtails.
Yeah, she's like super thin body. No. I didn't watch it either.
Oh, is that a term?
I felt like weird about watching the Cyberpunk anime without Adam.
I love the Chuni archetype. Is that what that's called then? Skinny and.
Do they have another word for it?
Yeah, short and flat. I think I mentioned this before, but I've met girls who were like super affected by that concept, where they were skinny and they were skinny, short, and flat, and then they were like, any guy who's attracted to me is a pedophile, and I'm like, you're 20 years old and you've never had a boyfriend because you tell them that. Like I was like, you're gonna die alone unless you stop saying that.
Because obviously they can't allow themselves to be attracted to you if you're gonna call them a pedophile for it. Yeah.
And like they had just never thought about it until I said it, because no one told them that, and they were like, and I was like, well, and she was like, well, but, and I was like, well, you're not gonna go through puberty again. Like you're too old.
Done.
This is it. This is as developed as you get. She's like, you're so funny. And I was like, no, that's not a joke. So I don't know. Like the whole people overuse that to maybe a detrimental effect. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The whole lolly trope thing is a little bit like strange because there's different people into it for very different reasons. It almost makes me think that there should be different categories somehow.
It's like, well, it's like I'm a dog person or I fuck dogs.
Yeah. Right? Right? Very different things.
I'm just such a horse girl. It's like I like horses. Like, it's like a different
different vibes to it. Yeah. Lolly is just a body type. Well, some people think it's something else. Does it actually come from Lolita? Is that actually where the term lolly comes from?
I assumed that. I don't know though.
I don't know for sure, but I have heard the term Lolita to describe things before I heard the term lolicon.
Dude,
and that's from Japan.
Did I tell you I was visiting my my grandfather in the hospital, and he had the news on, and he won't get a hearing aid, right? But he's deaf as fuck, and you know how I know is because like his favorite guy ever is like Donald Trump. It's like #1 fan, and the news is like it's like I don't know, like CNN or something he's got on, and they're like talking about, oh man, we're gonna convict Trump of a million different crimes. He's like he killed everyone. Everyone's already dead. He killed them all. We're dead too. We're ghosts. Like it's just they were like going on about that, and he wasn't mad. And then they go on about like DeSantis like burning books, and then they're like they're targeting specifically LGBTQ books, and then they show a stack of books, and like right on the top is Lolita, and I was like, ooh,
right.
I think you chose the wrong stock image.
Yeah. Ooh. So like Lolita is a book about a girl who's like molested by a pedophile. For those of you who didn't know.
It's from the perspective of the pedophile.
Yeah, so it tries to make him seem sympathetic.
Yes. And like to be fair, I haven't read it, but I've heard that it's a masterwork of literature, like it's a really well-written book. And also the writer who wrote it was like, man, I could make this really good. And then he finished it and he was like, this is a monstrosity. And he started to throw it in the fire, and he hadn't written anything else for like 2 years or something, and they were running out of money, and his wife was like putting him in a like a chokehold, like, you can't burn it, we're out of money, send it to the publisher. And then they did, and that's how it got to the publisher. She physically was restraining him after he'd been like writing, not eating for days, too weak to resist her. And she overpowered him.
Okay.
So anyway,
it's goofy.
Yeah.
So a couple people are talking about Lolita fashion sense,
which is not like, which is like cool looking, right? That's like the short dresses that are like all like gothic or whatever.
Yeah. Gothic
cool looking.
Lolita, I've heard
the
about.
Name.
I don't know if the word lolly is coming from. Because it seems like a coincidence, that the word lolly, and there's a book about a little girl who's sexualized called Lolita.
Also, God forbid, like that's a name that people still have. And like that guy really fucked that name. That he like Hitlered that name hard, or like Adolf that name hard. Because like my grandparents, because that was a really popular name of that generation. Like it's the long form of like Dolph or whatever, like Dolph Lundgren. Like his name is Dolph. It's not short for anything, but like it's like the difference of being named like I don't know, like I guess it's not the same like John and Johnny. Some people are named Will, but not William, something like that. And then anyway, there's like a wine that like one of my relatives brought over that was called Lolita wine, and I was like, ooh, that's quite a name. And they're like, what do you mean? I was like, oh, how am I the only person who knows about this?
Well, we got two different opinions. One saying Lily does come from Lolita, and then someone saying I doubt it came from that book. It's probably a coincidence. So I don't know. I have no idea.
Lex and Alexander, Luther. There's like Lex and Alexander. I don't know.
What are they referring to?
Names, I guess. I don't know how Luther is also in there. But there's like Xander is a name, Alexander is a name, Alexei, Alex. There's like a lot comes out of Alexander. Oh, I already said that. Sorry. I was thinking what's the female? Alexa. Yeah. Yeah, rip anyone who's like that must be an Italian name because it doesn't sound Spanish. Lolita. I don't know,
but people aren't gonna name their kid that now.
Oh yeah,
out of pure fear.
Rip, for sure.
Rest in peace, Lolita. Ooh.
The new Pokemon anime is pretty good, as well as the new protagonist.
I think I remember seeing a Pokemon new series trailer like a while back, and everyone like freaked out over like how cute the protagonist looked.
I would like Ash to grow up and to become like...
I would like Ash to grow up in general.
I would like him to grow up and be like super alpha, like work out all the time.
Yes, big muscle Ash. We need that.
And then like instead of like calling on Pikachu, he just like beats the shit out of Team Rocket. Like he's just this huge like monster. And he's like, summon your Pokemon, I'll break them.
Oh shit.
Pikachu doesn't do anything anymore. Pikachu's fat. He just like carries it around. It's like uses it as a medicine ball and does medicine ball slams with Pikachu. Yeah. No, but seriously, it would be nice to see a more mature Ash, not like physically becoming the Hulk, but it would be nice to see a more like
that.
Like an older, more masculine Ash.
I feel like it would be interesting because like they're worried about like damaging the character by having him grow up. Or more so like damaging memories of the character. And sometimes I get it. Sometimes I can see that. But for Ash, I feel like he should grow up. I feel like we should have seen like older versions of him in the other series.
If you had him grow up, could you not just like reboot him young and just say, this is an arc that you haven't seen before in a new country and he's young now? And then when people ask about the canon, you just say like "fuck you,"
yeah, right.
And then do it anyway. Like, there's so much stuff that doesn't make sense in Pokemon. Like, how could you possibly like be bothered by another like timeline disruption? It would be really cool to see. Unironically, it'd be really cool to see a Boruto of like Pokemon. Like Ash has kids with somebody.
Oh yeah, and then they go off on their adventures.
Jesse and James have kids, and then they're in the party, right? And then...
That's such a thing to do, though. Sometimes people don't do that very well, and maybe there's like a stigma about it where the people don't trust those types of spin-offs anymore.
And then you just like all the gym leaders, you just like have a date. You run a dating sim like game, right? You put out a dating sim with just the gym trainers, and then whatever the pairings are. Like you collect all the metadata from people. Whatever the most common pairings are, you just like make that canon.
yeah, that's how you do it.
And Brock fucks a rock, I guess. I don't know.
What?
No, like Officer Jenny or something, or Nurse Joy, or both. It's current year. He just has kids with all of them, and then instead of Nurse Joys and Officer Jennies, there's just a million like Brennies like running around. Whatever. Like, he has like the cops are like his sons, and then like the nurses are all of his daughters.
Yeah. Okay.
And then they're all like, the hair and stuff. Yeah.
Never get over the fact that Ash's Pikachu beaten Onyx with an electric attack.
Yeah. Busted.
A classic anime, just like breaking the rules of the game.
Yeah, just busted mechanics. I feel like Onyx should kill all the other Pokemon. He's just a giant like snake made out of rocks. He just smashed the shit out of everybody. He's so big. Like he's so big. It's like ridiculously big. Like, I don't know. Couldn't an Onyx just like tail whip a tree and then kill you with a tree? Like how many Pokemon can survive being hit by a tree? Not Jigglypuff, not Clefable. Like they'd get definitely a giant tree would kill them. So the logic extends. Tail whip on an onyx should just fucking murder you. Just blood splatter everywhere.
Slice you in half.
Yeah, I remember in my college, everyone was playing that Pokemon game.
Pokemon Go.
No, the PETA game. They put out like a parody thing where like you abuse the Pokemon and stuff.
Oh.
I don't know. It was very big. Everyone was very into it.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm familiar, but that sounds awful.
And then everyone from playing the PETA game was like back into Pokemon and bought new Pokemon games. And
completely backfired.
Yeah, everyone was playing Game Boy games and shit. And it was just like everyone got the emulators on their laptops. Shitty school laptops couldn't do anything but run Pokemon on their like Game Boy emulators. And everybody is like playing Pokemon like Turbo Soulless, where like they have it on 10 times speed up mode and on mute, and they're just like, it's like, I like it better this way. Like the numbers go up faster. Yes.
Basement dwellers.
They're like, oh man, I got a 16 times speed, wasn't fast enough. I moved it up to 100 times speed, and then I made it so it doesn't, when you go down, it doesn't like it only presses one input for each key press. It's like, oh yeah, this is really the way I want to play. All right. I guess I was excited when I got the bicycle, so I can't blame you. So
fair enough. PETA did the Streisand effect, kind of.
Yeah, I mean,
PETA is terrible.
Yeah.
But you know.
I remember like there was I was friends with back when I was on like Facebook. God rest my soul. I had like vegan friends that were like on Facebook, and they would share videos of like people like killing animals, and then they'd be like, "Oh my god, this is so bad. This
Please donate to PETA."
Yeah, this is why you have to be vegan. And then I was like, that's kind of odd that they shot a coyote like
on film.
Yeah, so I like looked up coyote being shot, like why, and there was like a guy who was like, "Yeah, I did it. They paid me this much." It was like PETA pays people to like murder animals, and then to try and like propagate that there's animal abuse.
Yeah.
So there was one, and like the video I saw was not crazy.
PETA is like 90% like marketing campaigns to just stir up people talking.
There was the one I saw was not bad. It was just a guy shooting a coyote. But then there was one that was like I didn't watch it, but there was a guy who skinned a fox alive, and he was like, it was a horrible thing that I did, but you know, I have to think of my family first, and they offered me so much money that I couldn't refuse. And he said exactly how much money. It was a very specific amount. It was 30,000 and like some change. Like it was a certain amount, hundreds after that.
Your donations at work for skinning foxes alive.
But he was like that 30,000 really like went far, you know, and I only spent it on responsible things, etc. But he's like, it still haunts me, like the sound and stuff.
Yeah.
Like he said it bothered him for a long time, and like he's over it now. But you know, whatever. But it was just like the guy was like open about like who talked to him and who paid him, and like he just like whatever. So it's like,
yeah, it's spooky.
But yeah, I mean, would you skin a fox alive for $30,000? I would. I'd do it. Not above PETA. Let me know. I don't even think I could. I would not.
You don't have the expertise.
I would be okay with that horror happening, but I would crack. I would not be able to get through that.
You would need some headphones and blaring some heavy metal.
No, because then whatever song I'm listening to is ruined forever. I would have to be like eating something I like for a diet or something. You know what I mean? Like
chicken and skinning fox.
Whatever you never want to eat again. Like if I had to quit smoking, I'd be skinning a fox alive while I smoke or something. I've never smoked, but like if I had to quit some sort of horrible habit, I would do that while I'm doing that. So I never. But yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, PETA has the most awful marketing campaigns. They're just like kind of straight up evil.
PETA went after Monster Hunter.
Of course they did.
PETA went after games where what even animals get killed in what Tyranids is PETA pro Tyranids? What animals get killed in 40K? What, the Juggernauts?
imaginary plastic figures have plastic fur on their plastic armor.
The Space Wolves. Space
All
Wolves. Space Wolves. Space Wolves have like wolf pelts, which is, I think, a bit of a stretch of a thing to be upset about.
Yes, I would say so.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, fur is bad. Everyone pour blood on the people who wear fur.
Yeah, I went. I think I've said this before. I went to a mall. It was like famous in England that my mom knew about from like a show or something. It was like something of the beat. Who knows? But it was in London, and my mom was excited to go. There was these like protesters outside, and they were like, "Oh, like fur is murder. You have to boycott this place because they sell furs." And I was, one of them was looking, was like talking, was saying to me, I was like, "Dude, look at me. Do I look like I'm gonna buy a fur coat?" And then like there was a guy with like red paint. I like looked at him like,
you better
I will
not.
fucking kill you.
Yeah.
Like everyone in London,
no.
like let me tell you, everyone in London is fucking soft. They're soft. Like I looked at that guy. I was like, don't. No. That don't touch me with the red paint. That's gonna be. I know. I'm gonna get real.
I would get real fucking mad.
Like,
Someone pouring red paint.
I was like, don't even. That's not. I'm not buying a fur coat, but I'll fucking wear one to your funeral, buddy.
Oh, man.
Don't
buy one specifically for that occasion.
It's like, but yeah, they're like standing outside, like trying to like scare people away from going in. It's like, no, my mom saw this on some kind of Hallmark movie. We have to go in, so get the fuck out of our way.
PETA also hates people that use wool, despite that not cutting the wool. She basically abused because it continues to.
Yeah, if you don't cut the wool off of sheep, they'll
be miserable.
No, they'll die because it's kind of gross, but when they poop, it gets caught in the fur and they'll get an infection in their butt.
It's no good. Thanks for the donation, Maverick. Finally bought some manga, but made the mistake of buying One Punch Man too similar to the anime. I bought Spy X Family later.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. There's some scenes in the One Punch Man manga that I don't think got adapted into the anime. But you are right that it is like super similar to the anime. People say that, or at least I've heard, that the webcomic is still superior to both the manga and anime. And, I've read the Mob Psycho 100 manga before the last anime season came out. And there are like some things that are different than what ends up being in the final. But I wouldn't say that it's worse. They're just like good in different ways, But both are good.
It's an interesting concept that like you could do such a faithful adaptation that you'd make one version or the other not as valuable because someone would already see one version, not want a second one. I don't know though. I feel like I've sort of had that, like reading like Lord of the Rings after having seen the movies. Some of the scenes were like, especially the very slow scenes, I was like, oh, I saw this already, and it's taken forever to describe it because he's very like slow writing style. Anyway.
Yeah. Well, with the like manga industry, like Shonen Jump, for example, they have these super thick magazines full of the chapters of whatever newest manga is coming out. And they're like, people do collect them, but for the most part, they're made so cheaply that you basically read them once and then they're like trash. So you gotta like buy the volume to actually have good quality versions of the chapters all collected. And that's kind of how so like basically the Shonen Jump magazine is actually just an advertisement for keeping up with what's going on in the manga series per se. It's funny hearing like someone talk about the Shonen Jump magazine, because something that I didn't know that they did is sometimes they make the pages colored just to hide the already damage that's just been done from printing it on the pages. Like the pages themselves will already be damaged because it's so low quality. and they'll make the pages like colored to kind of hide that. That's what I heard anyway.
I don't quite get it.
Just because like it'll have like smudges and stuff that's like not as easy to see if the pages are colored.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So like on white, the black mistakes will pop out more. So they like some sections are not black and white. They're like just black ink on like blue paper, for example.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
You can still read it, but it's supposed to like hide the fact that the pages are
blueprints.
I don't know, actually.
Because blueprints, you're always erasing and rewriting stuff, so I wonder if that's why they're blue.
Thanks for another donation, Maverick. Good news, manga is available at libraries near me. Bad news, it's in amazingly high demand, I can imagine. My plan is to donate the manga I bought after reading it. Well, that's nice.
Yeah, I think libraries could use more good comics and manga.
I started off reading manga from the library at my school.
Nice.
Yeah, they had some decent series, but they would only, for the most part, only have like number ones of some things, which is good, I guess, because if you want to start something, you should have the first version of it, of course.
I wonder if it was donated by the companies.
I don't know. Obviously, that one that I shared, the Time Guardian one, I read the first one at my library. That was when DC had a manga, manga license. That's the CMX. Yeah. So they were translating manga for a while, and that was like their branch. And they're gone now. They don't do that anymore. They don't bother with it. But part of it is because they ran into some controversy with one of the series that they got the license for. They like censored some. I didn't read the series, so I don't know personally. But I heard that they like did some heavy censoring for one of the series to make it so that it fit the teen category that they were aiming for when they were making it into English. And then they got a lot of controversy for that. And then people, the manga community in America were boycotting them. And they were just, even when they tried to like backpedal and re-release it with like accurate translations, it was just too late. Like they damaged their brand. So they just shut it down completely, which is a shame to hear. But it really it goes to show you throughout history that people do not like the censorship stuff. And if you're trying to aim for a younger audience, then you should just pick up younger licenses or younger manga to license.
Wow. The manga picks video you did was awesome.
Thank you. I can always give like more recommendations, of course. There's a lot of good stuff out there. So maybe I'll have to do another follow-up video sometime. 5 more manga I can recommend to beginners, or maybe like 5 anime I can recommend to beginners, because those recommendations would be slightly different. Because there's some anime that I would recommend to beginners that I wouldn't recommend the manga for like multiple reasons, and vice versa, Yeah. Like the Blue Exorcist manga I recommended for beginners, but I wouldn't recommend the anime because it's just too confusing.
Is there any manga that you would recommend for kids?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, sure. I'd have to do some thinking on that one. How young would you say kids? Would you say like under 12 or like, are you thinking
interesting. I didn't think of like different ages of kids. I just thought of like, a parent wouldn't be mad if they were reading it.
Yeah, well, Time Guardian is not bad. That's, one of the first ones that I started reading, of course.
I was thinking...
I don't think Spy X Family is bad either. But I don't know if kids would be as interested in that.
I don't know. I think maybe I would recommend Full Metal Alchemist, but that's just because I like Full Metal Alchemist.
It's very good.
That has some like horrific shit in it.
Well, yeah. I think that's fine for teens, though. I don't know if I can recommend any manga per se for much lower than like 12. I don't know if I've ever run into, well, because I wasn't really reading manga at that younger of an age. I started reading it when I was like preteen on to teens and to adult, you know. So I don't know if I'd have any recommendations for anything younger than that. But have you read any French comic or graphic novel? No. I'm completely out of the loop with the whole French manga scene or French comics. I've heard other people talk about them. I've never seen them. I've never seen them exist. I've just heard other people saying, "Oh yeah, you know, they're getting really popular over there in France." But like I don't know where.
There's also like the Italian thing, right?
There's also an Italian thing.
Yeah, well, like so Italians are like super into Western stuff, and so when I was in Venice, there was just like a sign that said, "This way to the most beautiful bookshop in the world," and I was like, "Sure, let's go on an adventure." So we went down, like we followed the signs, and there was legitimately the most beautiful bookshop in the world. It was like super gorgeous. They just had like so many books everywhere, and then we walk in
and they're like, "Oh, American."
No, because we look Italian, right? We look Italian enough, right? And so the guy's like, "Oh, scubabucci," and we're like, "Oh, so are you guys are open, right?" Like something like we just speak English. My brother said something like he didn't understand at all, and then my brother said something in like busted Italian, like super broke Italian, like shattered Italian.
Prego.
And then the guy was like, welcome or something. And then he goes like, you know, scubabucci to some like employee or something. And then he goes around, he's like, and he like picks up like just just random books, and he was like, it's in English. It's like he had like 3 lying around. He's like, he picks up War and Peace, and he's like, yeah. And he opens it, and he's like, he's pointing to the words like, English. And I was like, all right. Yeah, the one English book. I guess I'll just buy it. It was super gorgeous. He had all these.
Italians were responsible for the revival of Lupin the Third anime. They dedicated the entire part 4 to being in Italy as a thanks.
That's cool.
That is nice. What a nice story. You have to take me to that bookstore in Italy at some point in the future.
Super gorgeous. He had like all these cats all over the place, and they were all like the friendliest cats he'd ever seen. And they just had so many little nooks to read in, and they made walls out of old books, like stacked to the ceiling, like literal walls of it. I was at first not sure if they were real books, but they were books, just like, I don't know. And outside too, where it would have been rained on, they had just kind of formed into solid like objects. They had steps made out of books that you could walk on. And it was like, follow the steps to like a beautiful view. And I climbed up the steps, and sure enough, over the wall was the canal, and there was like a guy with the gondola.
Classic.
And one whole room that was like maybe 50% of the total shop was just cowboy manga. Like, no joke, all in Italian. And I
need to get some cowboy manga.
There was so much. It was packed with it. And like, I was like, man, they must have just gotten some kind of truckload of this stuff, and it's all useless. This like mother pushes past me, and she just like picks up one, like looks at it, and then she like picks up another one, picks up a third one in one hand, and then just like leaves. Like, she's like, oh yeah, he'll just read whatever the fucking cowboy shit this is. And there's other like moms who came in and were very discerning, looking for specific stuff, and I was like, oh shit, this is like, most of the customers seem to be coming into this one room packed with cowboy manga in these like buckets overflowing onto the floor.
Oh man.
The moms they're like kneeling down to go get the stuff, and there's like, you know, dads coming in. It's just like everyone is coming in for this like cowboy manga. It was manga size, but it was all in Italian. Probably.
I wonder if somebody knows what it is.
And like when you were looking around at printers, there was that one Italian one, right? So they might actually just print them in Italy. They print manga locally in Italy.
They have a printer there set up for them. Thanks for the donation, Maverick, again. Good anime film for kids, in my opinion. Suzume. Which Suzume? Are you thinking like the new Suzume movie, or are you thinking of a different one than what I'm thinking of? You thinking of like the Your Name guys, Suzume, or
Spaghetti westerns.
yeah,
You know what? I'm not entirely sure what a spaghetti western is. My understanding is that when a movie was bad, like a western was bad, they would call it a spaghetti western because even if it's bad, it'll sell in Italy. And I was reading this book called The Strangers, which is like super old book, and he's describing a normal sight in Italy, looking out his balcony, and it's people walking out of a theater doing the cowboy walk, and I was like, that's so strange. But at the time, I was like, why was that normal? And then and then later, I would hear spaghetti western and stuff, and
yeah, the Suzume that just came out. That didn't strike me as being a kids movie per se, so I'm a little bit confused. But then again, we haven't seen it. I did want to see it with you, but we have to find time for that.
There's a massive leather and beef production in Italy, by the way. Like certain areas have like a shit ton of it. Like they just have so many leather products. Like just anything.
Italian leather, right?
Right.
They're known for it.
And I think they're just kind of jealous that they didn't think of the whole like 6-shooters and like cowboy boots before it was the Wild West. Because I think there's just a lot of people that work in that industry, so it's like, I have no idea why they like it. It's just, I guess it's just cool, and they just latched onto it. Oh, spaghetti westerns are Western movies made by Italians, like Sergio Leone. Huh.
Just directed by an Italian?
Oh, I
don't know.
I had it reversed. Interesting.
Card Capture Sakura. It's pretty good. It's kids anime.
But like something I noticed was like in the stores when they had just regular clothes, they would have the mannequins dressed up like a cowboy, except for that they would be wearing the clothes that the store is selling. So they would have different stuff that would, like it would be a normal dress shirt, but instead of a regular tie, they would have the thing, whatever that's called, boulder tie, I want to say. I don't know, where it's like the 2 strings and like a little plaid.
Yes, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah. Okay.
And they had cowboy hats on a lot of mannequins that were selling totally unrelated stuff, and cowboy boots on a lot of mannequins selling totally unrelated stuff. It was especially kids' clothes, I think, but there was regular clothes too. It was interesting.
That is interesting.
And like quite a few people were like, Americans, they would do the cowboy thing. Like, they would do the,
right.
They do the fake spit in the hand.
Howdy, partner.
and a lot of people asked if we'd ever been to Texas.
Right. I guess they're just super into it.
Yeah. They were equally happy that we were from New Jersey because they were like,
I guess as far as like kids anime, I guess Spirited Away is probably like my favorite of as far as like kids anime goes. That was like really solid. And I guess also got a good lesson in there, right? Because it's about maturing, becoming selfless. But I don't know. There's a lot of Ghibli movies that people say is like their childhood that I just don't really connect to at all. There's also a lot of bummer Ghibli movies, right? Yeah. But Spirited Away is the one that I look at and I'm like, yes, this is the good one. Not that I've seen them all, but I've seen like some of the more popular ones. From what I've seen, a lot of Europeans think the US is smaller than what it actually is. That makes somewhat of sense because, like, they might assume that it's kind of like their country, which is smaller, and then it's not. It's actually really, really big. And
Is The Rifleman a movie? I'll highlight this because that's what I'm talking about. Is The Rifleman a movie or is that?
I thought that was a
TV
show, yeah.
Because I saw like an intro thing, like it came on whatever channel, and then they show the guy shooting super, super fast, like doing the lever action, like working it super fast and shooting. And I was like, oh man, they have a really good stunt man. And I guess that's what they wanted you to think, because then they pan up without cutting and show the actor holding the gun. I was like, oh, okay, all right. I'm in. I'm watching. I gotta watch a couple minutes of this. Yeah.
Probably just because Ghibli films are most well known for the casuals. Maybe that's what it is. Well, they always call Miyazaki like the Disney of Japan, and maybe I don't know.
Chuck Connors was probably the most manly man to ever exist.
Probably.
All right, I guess that's the Rifleman. Yeah, that's a TV show. I remember that intro. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the best intro. That I was sold. I was like, I don't even care that much about guns, but man, if that guy can, okay, all right. So that's the perfect actor for that. Yeah, I'm in. That's all you have to do. That could be the whole trailer to like a. I mean, I guess it is the trailer for like John Wick. It just has, what's his name? Keanu Reeves just like using guns competently, without cuts.
Most casuals should stick to Ghibli. They aren't ready for most anime.
Considering all the awful takes on Twitter.
Fair point. Yeah, well, to each.
The guy's 6'6". My God.
Oh my goodness.
And
I didn't know that.
And he's that fast. Typically, when your arms are longer, you're a little slower. But I guess it's a lower frame rate that they're filming in, but still, it was like
maybe the gun he's holding is just huge to compensate.
Well, no. It's like the longer your arms are, you tend to have a little bit like slower reflexes, just because it's like a physical.
Well, it's like less.
The physical distance that you have actually affects your like input speed, like regardless of your like reflex. Not reflexes help, but just the speed of you choosing to do a thing, it'll be slightly slower if you have slightly longer arms, just like dictated by like the time it takes to get a signal through nerves. So
La Blue Girl is the most casual anime. Is it? Part of me thinks that like My Hero Academia is one of the most casual animes because it's like kind of superhero based, like kind of that connection with the American comics. A lot of people jump into that, and like it's just like comic books, but
I would think some like Toonami show would be the most casual, like Dragon Ball.
My Hero Academia was on Toonami.
Oh, it still exists, huh?
Yeah. They still show anime after dark.
I've never heard of La Blue Girl.
I've never heard of it either. That's why I'm a little bit,
Oh, hi. I'm such a big fan of your channel. I hope you're having a fantastic fall.
Yeah, you got to be quicker than that. Another thing is like this thing that we have the laptop on, like, is not even on the floor. So like as you're like using the trackpad, it's like moving away from you.
Yeah.
But thank you. We are having a fantastic day. Glad you asked. It's just 6 more days on our campaign here with Horizon Quest. So we're going to be, like, for the most part, wrapping things up. Yeah. And by the time the campaign ends, we'll have our books sent to the printer. Yeah. And then we wait to get our stuff and start fulfillment, which is going to be fun. It's going to be a fun journey. I'm going to be ready to
send my book to the printer within the next couple of days. But and anyone who got the double book bundle or the ultimate bundle will get a bookmark, and these are freshly minted
example bookmarks. We can make them just about like any color.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a big variety of them, so who knows what you'll get, but in this one's.
I do like the idea of sword bookmarks to like unsheath whenever you're like ready to read.
If you unsheath it, then you just lose your place.
Yeah, well, so
dude,
look at this.
You know how fucking old that is? I
remember Shauna.
You know how fucking old this is? I bought this in Blockbuster. No joke.
Oh man.
Oh no, it was a Hot Topic. No, I think it was Blockbuster.
Yeah, part of me always kind of wondered like why they don't have like anime manga magazine going on in the States.
It was so exciting.
And
oh dude,
I think
like
there's a couple
Bleach in there.
Yeah, I think there's a couple reasons for it. But mostly it's just like even if it were just like comics in the what, even if it were comics within the state, I always
Got a
kind of wondered
fucking
why don't they
Got a
do the
fucking
Shonen
problem with
Jump thing? You just like fit it.
Yeah.
I don't know. You just seem like isolated.
Okay.
Oh, hey, Vito. Congrats on your comic campaign. I heard about that through the grapevine. But yeah, overall, we're probably going to wrap up the stream.
Hey guys, I was finally able to back the campaign. I wanted to get the ultimate bundle, but sadly money's really tight right now. Oh yeah, don't worry about it.
It's fine.
Put yourself in no financial need over
Yeah,
our
it's
silly
absolutely
books.
fine. We'll have the books available just like in limited quantities on our websites. So this is just to help it get funded to get printed and whatnot.
Give it a boost off the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm super proud of all my books. I'm not gonna let them go like out of print or anything. I'm gonna keep on, ordering more copies of Slayer in the White Valley. But yeah, I'm super happy with that book.
That's good to hear.
But, yeah.
And I'm pretty proud to have done like my own kind of I guess like Western-y anime art style. Even though people talk badly about Western anime art styles, I'm proud that it looks like people, that it's like distinguishable, and that I did a whole book. I did a whole book with it.
Yeah.
It's an accomplishment. People liked it and they wanted to see more of that art style. And even when I was like talking bad on myself, I was like, I should like change my art style. And people are like, no, I like this. And it felt good.
Yeah,
thank you.
I'd be scared to call it Western anime or Western
exactly
manga.
Because people don't like
just
that.
Because we went into that like manga store and they had all those like American things like mixed in like X-gender or whatever. I was like,
well, that's
man,
that's yeah.
Oh man, like if I was a consumer, I would just sort by
Viz
not
Media
American.
does that all the time, where they take like stories that are not manga, they just publish them alongside their manga published titles.
There was a lot of stuff in there that I could totally imagine someone being like, yeah, this is all.
Anyway, so we're probably gonna just end the stream here, but thank you for joining us. We'll have to catch you next time we stream or whatever's.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me, everybody. It has been
campaign ends in 6 days. Final reminder.
Get yourself a sword bookmark or
yeah, we'll have other news coming. I won't specify what news, but we'll have other news regarding campaign stuff coming out soon, sometime the upcoming week. Yeah. Pixie in a suit of armor. Let's go. All right. See you guys. See you next time.